Thank you very much for staying with us on TVC Breakfast. And just before we talk about the essence of yet another World Teachers' Day, let's also, bring up one of the other issues that we will be discussing on the program this morning, and it is on the spate of flooding. Only recently or thereabout we talked about, the sad occurrence in Adamawa State, in Niger State, and now we have reports that in Kebbi State, no fewer than 30 persons reportedly drowned as the boat carrying more than 50 passengers capsized in Yauri local government area of Kebbi State. And the chairman of Yauri local government area, Bala Yauri, had said that the incident has understandably left people of the local government in deep sorrow, and adds that efforts are in top gear by local divers to locate the corpses of the passengers who drowned in the river. And from the information gathered, more than 50 persons were involved in the accident. Some of them escaped, but more than 30 of them are still trapped in the river. And that's what we will be discussing right on now. We have with us again, Ehi Eden. He is an occupational health and safety health consultant, safety management health consultant. That is Ehi Eden. It's good to see you here. Right? We spoke about, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? But then that also reflects the urgency of the matter, and the fact that here we are again on another ugly cycle. But what do you make of the situation in Kebbi State?
I think it's gradually becoming a national embarrassment. The last time we spoke on this issue was about less than 3 weeks ago. People who suffered losses are yet to complete their money. Now we're having another one happening, in a fast sequence. I think this tells us, again, how unprepared we are to manage issues that happen as it regards to navigating through our waterways. We don't need to wait for issues to happen, to start discussing, that's doing post-mortem, discussing what has happened. We need to look at the trends. It's so obvious right now that there's quite a level of high risk within those means of transportation in our country. I think it's important that it comes into the government front burner, and we start looking at it closely to see how we can protect the lives of people and family members that travel through those waterways. And if you see, we're not even sure of the figures.
Right.
It looks like about 50. Yeah. That tells you there's something grossly wrong. There's no clear manifest. There's clear manifest. You should be able to see how many people were traveling through that boat. And let's start from there. But it's so sad that this is over 24 hours right now that this thing has happened. Like I said last time, again, these are local boat operators and local divers that are coming to our rescue. I think there's something fundamentally wrong. Along this line, I think it's high time we all rise up to the occasion, trying to review what has happened and using what has happened to build back better in creating a better system.
But how does government put this in the front burner? Because from what we hear, the boat is believed to have capsized due to intense water waves in the Niger River. And you're saying that the government should put this on the front burner. Are these not, what measures can be put in place?
Firstly, like we said the last time, even the waterways, they are unduly regulated. We need regulations among the waterways. Firstly, what nature of boat can sail through a certain water knowing the water torrent? Do you understand? So you need to classify what nature of boats will be allowed to go into certain water. Yes, I understand the fact that there could be some natural occurrences like wave and all have you. But we need to understand, is this the boats that are sailing through these rivers, are they strong enough? Are they the specification that should be in these waters? If they are not, why put them in?
What kind of boats can sail through that kind of water?
Different water have different water torrent. So if a boat is going to travel, assuming a certain nautical miles into the deep waters, that shouldn't be a boat that should have one engine to start with. That should be a boat that will be a light boat that could be tossed around by every wave that comes. So these are the points I'm putting up. So when you see a boat that is taking off, firstly you need to understand at what depth is this boat going within the waters? So if you feel that, I mean, deep inside the waters, that the wave that this boat that will come against this boat specification cannot withstand it, then such a boat should not be used within those waterways. And these are the points I'm making.
Right, and the particular water, for example, now there can be various waves for the same river, for example. Now it could be calm today or this season, next season it could be totally aggressive waves. In this case of Kebbi State, we understand that the National Inland Waterways Authority is now speaking and attributing the fault, to the boat captain who we understand or is reported to have ignored warning signals. In a statement by the agency's manager, general manager on corporate affairs, the boat captain is said to have ignored the weather condition that was turbulent and yet proceeded with sailing instead of berthing at a nearest bank. If this is what NIWA says happened, what are your thoughts?
If you recall the last conversation we had with you guys, this issue, I clearly brought it up. The truth is that we also need to put them on check. It's not, the times that we are in, when the rains are here and the seas are full, and sometimes you wake up in the morning, you see that, the rains are out again. When the rains are out, turbulence are bound to happen and the water level is full. So at such a time, that's where we need people to understand that if it's not safe for those boats to be in the waters, there's no need. Do you understand? And this is where the blame is coming to the boat. There's no need. And even if you go, through some nautical miles, you find out that, yes, I'm having so much turbulence here. I don't think this boat can get to the destination if I continue on this trip. Like you said, they have to berth somewhere and wait for the weather to be calm. It's just same application applies to aircraft. There are times you find out that aircraft want to take off, the control tower pull the aircraft on ground. And most of us who are inside the flight that want to catch appointment, we are saying we are not moving, but it's for our own safety. But the question I'm asking, where is the regulatory body that can tell a boat now that, yes, the torrent is high, the turbulence is much, you can't move now?
Well, NIWA said they did
that. But I understand, they said that. But mind you, when you have turbulence within the airspace, there's a control tower. Do you understand? Control tower mandates the aircraft. You can't fly.
And you can't disobey.
You can't disobey. But this is what I'm asking for. Who mandates the boat operators that you can't move now? And this is the point we are making. So wherever we have jetties, where we have people using our waterways, the way you have control towers, there should be regulatory bodies or enforcement agents that should be in those areas you can't move in. And the truth is that most times when people know that you are doing this for their safety, you are telling the boat you can't move because of the turbulence, and the passengers say, if you want to move, we disembark. What we have done with that action is that we have prevented an ugly incident that would have happened because somebody came in and intervened.
Okay, but in this case now, why do you think, let's assume that the boat operator ignored warnings. Why do you think this might have happened?
Well, a number of factors could be responsible. Like one, you have the natural occurrence of midway into the trip, you have, wave changes in weather that you didn't expect before, and now there's turbulence. And they could have bring some to other question. The people that actually
boarded, right.
No, the people that actually, the captains in these boats, right. How much of geography do they know? This is something that we should be looking at. Who trains these captains? Someone can just go that lives in Nebe, in Bayelsa State. He said, I grew up in Nebe. I've seen people driving boat before. That I'm a boat driver because I was born in Nebe. And somebody gives that person boat to drive, just drive this boat. He says, he took the first trip and it's back. That guy has become a boat operator. So we need to understand, we need to have institutions, agencies where these boat drivers or boat captains are trained regularly. The truth is that it's not just to train them one-off. And that's why you find out that we have this turbulence in the West also, but the difference is that every year or every 2 years, you are recertified. Why? Things are changing. As things change, your training need to scale up to those level of changes that we've seen for the past 1 year. That's why you find out that these people are recertified every year. If you are not certified, you are not qualified to lead any boat. No boat owner will give you a boat to drive because, as a matter of fact, you are not legally permissible to lead any boat. And these are the issues. These are the differences we have in boat climate. What we're not doing here. But I think it's time. It's not just about government alone. Like the last time we talked about. Okay, the guy didn't adhere to warnings. Do you know that there can actually be boat drivers that don't even hear? So who's looking at the hearing impairment of the guy who operates the boat? Who's looking at the visual acuity? You understand? And the person driving the boat may have some kind of undue underlying health conditions. Somebody can have some underlying health conditions that he's in the midst of the storm and all of a sudden he has health crisis. So these are things we should be looking at before we start. I mean, what was the fundamental issue? A madman can be a boat driver. So who looks at the insanity of the man? So the question is, if he knew that this concerns him, because when the boat capsized, a lot of people go die, he could even die. Nobody wants to naturally take a risk and kill himself and put his family in jeopardy.
And we cannot even also, predict human nature, when faced with a near-death, happening. Because, some of the passengers, or most of them, when they saw what was happening, seeing their lives just before them, they basically, dived into the waters, whether you can swim or not, and unfortunately, the calamity happened. But now, NIWA is talking about increasing the tempo of sensitization and awareness campaigns, and we spoke about the presence or the adequacy of life jackets. Yeah. And, now we are seeing another reflection that this is yet another work cut out for the relevant bodies.
I just wish if we saw the pictures of people in that boat as it was journeying to that location, it will shock you to see that most of these people have no life. I don't know, I'm just assuming. Most of the people may not have life jackets on. Life jacket can save you keep you afloat for a long time, so that those who come to your rescue, they can still see you floating, for a while before they come and rescue you. But even if you jump into the water, you have life jackets, you'll still stay afloat. But what this tells us is that perhaps there were no life jackets, within these operations, and people jump into the water and they drown. And this is quite sad. But NIWA is coming in right now to do advocacy. But the question I'm asking is, must we wait for incident to happen before we start doing what we ought to do? The last one that happened, I think that was Adamawa and Niger State, and we remember that they were looking for who to blame, who bring people to book, and these are things we shouldn't be talking about. We should look for taking proactive actions and to see what has happened, then routinely audit these operations, because when we audit operations, do safety audit of operations, what we are doing with such body language is that we are saying what are the things that are needed, what are the possible risks, the exposure, how do we correct them, mitigate them before they happen. And this is more proactive. But what we're doing right now is that, we know we'll start doing advocacy right now because this has happened. The one that happened, barely 3 weeks ago, we were yet to get over that. But,
Niger State,
yes, but again, let's keep in mind that these are people's relatives. These are people's fathers. These are people's mothers that we just allow to die like that. But the truth is, now we have breadwinners taken away from families. So you find out that the chain of pain is always long when such thing happens. For us to take tears out of people's eyes, the eyes of the families, we need to do what we ought to do, because when one accident happens, the trauma that we throw families into can never be quantified. But now we are looking at this. But the family is somewhere in the Kebbi State mourning. A man and his wife could be in this boat going to do their trading, and the boat capsized. What about their children? And these are the issues that we should bring to mind.
So it's one too many, because as you've mentioned earlier, Niger and Adamawa State, and this one again. This is the rainy season. They will definitely have postmortems. What measures we put in place right now in the immediate? Because people still have to go to the weekly markets to trade and buy goods and sell, and people have to get to the market for food at home and all of that. What measures should we put in place right now?
Like I mentioned the last time, there need to be partnership. NIWA can stay in the city center and be saying we want to see what happens at the local community. And most of these waterways are in the local communities. So what we need to do right now, as a matter of urgency, is to create partnership among all the stakeholders within the waterways. NIWA how to partner. I mean, government is in 3 layers. The last layer of the government, I mean, they are the ones that actually at the forefront of what happens, but most times nobody engages them.
Talking about local divers.
Exactly, we have local government authorities. Now we need to look at where are these areas where we are having these spikes. Let's start engaging the local government or local authorities within this area. Look at the local divers. Even look at local law enforcement agencies from the local government to be in the waterways. And these people should be trained to an extent and see the reckless behavior being put up, I mean, in terms of water transportation. When you see someone, I mean, there's tempest, and you see somebody saying that I must make this journey, then you should be available to say you can't make this journey because this is the law. And if you insist, we sanction you or blacklist you, you can't operate here anymore. Once we start doing this, and then we can at least this will give us some respite. And again, we need to also understand, I mean, train the boat operators that every trip that you make is not a successful trip. Because you may want to make money. We find out that this way we can also point finger at poverty, because any man that is poor will want to do anything within his means to put food on the family's table. So most times they go in this risky journey, not because they just want to do, but they just believe, man, we have no food to eat. But where you're thinking of your immediate need, your immediate meal on the table, that takes preeminence over your safety and public safety. And you don't come back alive. We have to make them understand also that, yeah, this journey is good to make it, but this journey is not safe at the moment. Can we give it about 40 minutes or 1 hour? Let's see how the weather turns out. Then we can make this journey. Then give them such education, I mean, if that's such awareness or advocacy that will be coming from NIWA, I mean, it will be good, because we need to speak to the conscience of these people, because it's not just about them, it's about those who trust them to enter their boat. If I trust you to enter your boat at the end of the day you came in, I mean, that's a betrayal of trust.
And what reorientation would you be, suggesting or recommending for the passengers themselves? When, like Theophilus said, now there's some regions in the country where water transportation is the only way they can move around. We've spoken about the drivers. We have all kinds of drivers, but for the average passenger, man, woman, youth, what advocacy would you be making at this point?
Before the advocacy, it would be nice in the country where we have what you call record and profiling, like I mentioned the last time. It would be nice to see where you have data where people can profile the accident history of a boat company before they patronize that boat. But we don't have such records. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure we have a complete record of every boat operator in this country. If we have a complete record where you can see the accident record of a certain boat company is duly published, what that means is that before I buy my ticket to navigate, I look at the history of but we don't have that. But what you do, I mean, you have to take what you call personal responsibility, because this is your safety. When you come in, firstly, there are a number of boat operators. You come in, you want to board, and you find out that it looks like this guy is drunk. What do? Would you want to, commit your life to a drunken driver to take you through, very risky scene? No. Look at the personality of the driver. If you feel it's not in the right state of mind, please don't follow that boat. Then somebody that's unduly irrational, because the boat drivers are a very key factor, to look at first. Sure. Somebody that is unduly irrational, has some clear irrational behavior, please just try and stay away.
But these are the things we see. Sorry, these are the things we see at these boat parks and all of that. It's in motor parks. It's everywhere. It's like a norm now.
See, the truth is that one of our doctors wrote his master's program. What he wrote in his public health program was drug, alcohol infiltration in our public place, in the bus stops. And I didn't know there was so much alcohol inside his project. Yeah. He kept going to street to go and pick sachet. Now this is where we need control. Sachet of alcohol is everywhere, on the street, on the bus stop, wherever you can find it. But I don't know what we can do, because exposure to alcohol makes you take alcohol. So when these alcohols are found in jetties and all have you, these guys are bound to take 1 or 2 before they commence their journey. But every little drop of alcohol that enters your system has a great potential to influence your decision and your behavior. And these are some areas we should be looking. Then you also look at the condition of the boat.
Right, the maintenance.
Most times the boats are in terrible bad shapes, and nobody looks at that. A boat is going, and mid journey the engine goes off. I mean, how do you
right, and you're right, and you're correct.
Yes.
There have been cases.
It happened
right.
to me. I was going from Marina to Apapa. Just the traffic, I said, let me just use the waterways. When this engine went off, I told myself, well, how many sins have I committed? Because I was just asking myself, is this how I'm going to end my life? And luckily, they went and started the engine again. It started, and we landed on the other side.
There in the middle of the
sea, yeah.
Have you gone on sea since then?
No. No matter what you give to me, I choose to go through the traffic, no matter how bad it is.
Right. But you can swim.
No, I can't even. That's the irony.
Oh.
You know, we mentioned it the last time that because of the nature of, how water we have around us, it would have been necessary. I think maybe that would be a good way to start by government and school authority, maybe Ministry of Education, maybe see how we can we shouldn't enforce it. It's not by force. Let's encourage people at least to learn how to swim. Because, you see, amongst all the preparedness, because you never can tell. No, people that have only waterway as a means of transportation right now, if you backslide to about 10 years ago, that was not all that they had. But now this is what is facing them. They have to go through the waters. So we never can tell what will be in that situation where water becomes our only means of transportation. We need to see what we can do to see. I mean, even if we cannot swim like professional, but at least being able to stay afloat in water for a while until help comes our way, it will be a good thing to encourage in our country.
And of course, the number of boats, how sufficient are they? Because in cases that we have seen so far this year, there are issues of overloading. And, you know, so this is also another place that one would say government cannot do it alone. You know, can we also embrace some form of partnership where, you know, there will be sufficient vessels or boats? Right.
Let me take the issue of overloading is a big issue because when boats are built to a certain capacity, it's just like right now you have an aircraft, right? We all enter the aircraft, you have passengers that say, I want to stand inside this aircraft. You know, it's not allowed.
What options?
Now, they're built to a certain capacity, but now you see boat being overloaded, assuming...
Not just humans, but even animals.
Yes, I know. Even wares that they bring from the
goods,
market.
absolutely.
Yes, so you see, we have to understand that when you load a boat beyond its specified capacity, that boat is a risky journey you are on already. And this is where I talked about the local authority earlier on. This is where they have to stand and be enforcing this thing. Like the ones that we saw in Kebbi right now, we're told that they were predominantly traders who were going to market. Obviously, they have their wares and everything loaded in one boat. Perhaps it may have been loaded beyond its capacity. That is something. Then back to the sufficiency in boats. One of the reasons why people have to also overload their boat is because we have no sufficient boat. We need partnership. When I get to South Africa, I work in an ambulance for at least one night. But one of the things I've seen that works well in South Africa emergency management system is that government realized early enough that government alone cannot provide the ambulances that we needed by the whole country. What they did was that they unbundle and open the market. Those who have ambulances, bring them into government-created space, then government pays you as it's used. We need to see how we can adopt this system, see how we can, make it, create incentive of people who know they have boats, they can do water transportation, to bring boats into the system so that the moment we have more boats that can carry enough people, the issue of boat overloading, we're not saying it's going to run off, but it reduced to a not significant ratio, and this is what we're looking at. So a very clear point, we need that partnership between government and private individuals who can run boats, operate boats within the waterways. We need that partner, that synergy to really come in place. It will be a good one.
So quickly, what's the place of legislation in safety?
Yes, thank you for bringing it out. Legislation has to be reviewed. One of the things we find, not just reviewed, whatever is available should be enforced. We have legislation. Sometimes we have legislation in this country. They end up in the drawers. They're in the shelves. We need enforcement of legislation. If you take a deeper look into what has happened today, in Kebbi, you'll find out that everything that has happened, there are legislations that cover all those things. We are quick. Nigeria is one country that's quick to ratify international convention They are quick to participate in international convention. But when we bring them in, domesticating them and enforcing these become a key issue. We are a policy nation. We are not an enforcement nation. We need to do well in the area of enforcement. It will help us a great deal.
Ehiden, a fine place to rest our conversations. We hope for more palatable news and analysis from your own occupational health and safety management consultant. Ehiden, thank you.
My very pleasure. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much.